let's come into our parallel stance. Okay, so feet directly underneath the hips. Roll those shoulders back. And let's just soften those knees and close the eyes for a little bit. Just wobbling around from side to side, gently and with control. And just being aware of that core and how it's responding to those shifts in balance. So just close the eyes, allow yourself to lose balance. So coming too far to the side. And allow yourself to step side to side, back and forth. Just see how your body is responding to it. See how your weight is shifting there. And make sure you're keeping those shoulders completely relaxed the whole time. Okay, so let's focus on our Pilates breathing. So making sure we're engaged through that pelvic floor. Take a lovely deep breath in through the nose, filling those lungs up. And on the exhale, release all that air out through the mouth. Relaxing those shoulders even more. Another deep breath in through the nose. And just exhale, release that air through the mouth. Find your central point and make sure you're balancing over the big toe, the little toe, and the heel on both feet. So just keep on taking lovely deep breaths. Remember, when you exhale, think about growing even taller through the top of your head and pushing through the feet as well against the floor. So just while we're here, I just want to say I'm not feeling 100% today, so please bear with me if my words get mixed up in my mouth. You know what it's like. Try not to lose my balance and stuff. No COVID, just to clarify. Okay, so let's add some arms. Inhaling, opening up those arms, stretching towards the ceiling onto the toes. And exhaling, close those arms, push that breath out. And you can sweep across the front. Inhaling, back up. Exhaling, back down to center. And repeating. Think about that length. A really long piece of string when you stretch up to the top. Okay, a couple more there. Keeping that tummy tucked in. And your last one. Wonderful stuff. Let's come up to center. Hands, palms flat against the screen in front of you. Inhale, open those arms up. Now try and keep them on the same plane. Try not to go up or down with them. Exhale, pushing that air out. Keep those knees soft. Inhale and open. Shoulders stay relaxed the whole time. Exhale, push that air out. And try and keep those palms flexed as well. Just stretch through the top of the arms. One more there. And let's release, give those wrists a little bit of a shake out. Let's just go into some gentle arm stretches. So crossing that left arm over the chest, you can hold it with the right arm. And think about that length around the outside of the shoulder, the back of the arm as well, the tricep. And you can rotate that wrist as well, breathing the whole time. Okay, let's swap to the other side. Same thing on the other side, making sure those knees stay soft, shoulders are relaxed. Okay, let's just release. Wonderful. So going into the neck, we're just going to look towards the left Roll it down to the right. And just do a few neck rolls here, keeping that core engaged. Making sure you've got that length through the back of the neck and also the side here. Keep breathing. Pulling in through those internal abdominal muscles the whole time. Let's do a couple more repetitions on each side. And when you're finished, just coming back to center. We'll go into some rotation. So we're just going to go into the bow and arrow. I will show you from the side, making sure we're maintaining that parallel stance. We're going to reach out in front of us with both palms placed towards one another. Lovely deep inhale, tiny waist, and on the exhale, peel that left arm back. Keep those hips facing forwards as you follow that back arm with the head. Take a deep breath in there. Make sure there's still a nice space between the chin and the chest. And on the exhale, we're swapping arms to the other side, making sure those hips are facing forwards the whole time. Even if that means you can't quite reach behind you, we still want to make sure that rotation is coming from the lower back. Keep breathing the whole time. Make sure those shoulders are staying relaxed. So we're inhaling as we're stretching. Exhaling as we're moving. Inhaling, stretch. Wonderful. Let's do 2 more repetitions on each side. Remembering that space between the shoulders and the ears. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, move. This will be our last repetition. Inhale, stretching there. And we'll come back to center to do some side stretching. So we're going to cross one leg over the other, coming into our standing mermaids. If you're not comfortable in this position, please just place one foot in front of the other, or alternatively, you can just stay in your parallel stance. We're going to inhale, zip up through the core, and reach up and over with that left arm, making sure we're not leaning forwards with the chest or leaning backwards. Think about the length through the side. And making sure that bottom shoulder is relaxed. Take a deep inhale there. Exhale, swap over to the other side. And again, make sure that bottom shoulder stays relaxed and make sure you're not compensating by, leaning forwards or backwards. Lovely deep breath in there. Exhale as you swap. Now you'll probably notice you can go a lot further on one side than the other. And that's partially due to the position of the legs. So when you swap them back over, it'll be different. But also you want to be aware of any tightness through the sides. So the obliques or the lats. Remember, keep that bottom shoulder completely relaxed. We're not hunching it up here. And keep breathing. Wonderful. Once you finish that one, we're just going to swap those legs over. And we're going to continue to zip up. Keeping that torso parallel to any plane in front of you, so any flat surface in front of you. Lovely deep breath in. Exhale as you move. Remember, you want to be using that core to center yourself each time you stack back up. And remember to keep those shoulders completely relaxed. Lovely flowing, elegant movement, like a mermaid. That's why it's called the standing mermaid. Okay, so we're going to do one more on the other side. And back to centre. Wonderful stuff. Okay, we're going to go into a few V stretches, add in the monkey squat. Remember, the squat is always optional, as is everything. Lovely deep breath, tiny waist. Exhale, coming into that V stretch, showing you from the side, but lengthening through the front of the neck, through the front of the body, but you're not collapsing back at all. You want to still hold that head and the back as well. Lovely deep breath in. Exhale, back to centre. Inhale there. And on the exhale, we'll come back into that V stretch, thinking about length. Exhale, back to centre. Lovely inhale. And back into that V. Opening the shoulders as well, making sure you're lengthening through the insides of the shoulders. And then for those of you who choose to, we're going to add the squat as well. Inhaling at the top. And on the exhale, swooping down into a monkey squat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, swooping down into your monkey squat. And inhale to lengthen. Exhale, making sure that weight is going over the heels, making sure the knees are going over the big toes and not collapsing in towards one another. Remember, if they are collapsing in towards one another, please just don't go quite so deep into that squat. Remember, when you come back up into that V, not to collapse back, not to let that head loll back. We've still got control in this area. Let's do a couple more. Let's add one more, because on our last two, we're going to hold that squat down there. So exhale into your monkey squat, push through the heels as if you're about to come back up and hold. Keep breathing. Make sure that weight's over the heels as much as it can be. You can lift those toes up. If you don't do that, you might lose your balance. Keep breathing, keep those shoulders relaxed. Now your next exhale, let's come back up. Holding this stretch for a couple of breaths as well. And again, let's come down. Push through those heels and hold that squat. Keeping those shoulders relaxed. Remember, you don't want to be holding tension elsewhere at all. Okay, exhale, let's release. Give those knees a bit of a shake out. I'm just going to take a sip of my drink before we carry on. Okay, so we're going to come to the back of our mats and we're going to go into our roll down exercises. So making sure those shoulders are completely rolled back. Lengthen through the neck again, take a lovely deep inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to roll those shoulders forwards. Release the head and the neck completely, as well as the arms. So everything's just hanging down there. We're just going as far as we're comfortable going. Take a lovely deep inhale at the end. And on the exhale, tucking that tailbone over under as you follow with the rest of the spine. And then open up that chest again, deep breath in. Exhale to continue. Coming down as far as you're comfortable going. Take a deep inhale at the end. And exhale, using that core strength, glute strength and hamstring strength to step back up. Lovely deep breath in at the top. Exhale to repeat. Try and get that a little bit further each time you come down into that roll down. Remember those knees as well. You don't want them completely locked out, but you also want to make sure they're not too bent, because you want to make sure you can feel that stretch through the backs of the legs. Okay, lovely deep breath in. We're going to do a couple more individuals and then we'll hold it down there. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to hold the next two down there. So remember, this again is always optional. If you feel lightheaded, if you're not comfortable holding that position, then please just either carry on with the individual rod hands, or you can go into a full body stretch on the mat, whatever works for you. So today all we're going to do is just try and stretch a bit further each time we take an exhale. Even if you can't really see much of a movement, you want to try and stretch a bit further through the backs of those legs, trying to get closer to the floor. Keep on taking those deep Pilates breaths. Filling those lungs up, exhaling, releasing all that air out through the mouth. Make sure those shoulders and that head are completely relaxed. And keep on breathing the whole time. Wonderful stuff. Let's take an inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to step back up. Again, opening up that chest, lifting through the front of the neck. Another deep breath in. And we're going to do the same again. Just going down as far as you can into that. Each time you exhale, try and test yourself that a little bit more. So you think you can't stretch any further, but each time you exhale, just try and get that a little bit closer to the floor. Okay, we'll take a couple more breaths while we're down here. And let's crawl down onto the mat. Okay, wonderful stuff. So we're going to go straight onto our backs. Remember, you want to have some weights handy, so cans of beans if you have them. If you don't have anything like this, these are 500 grams. You also might be keen to have a block or a cushion underneath your head. Just place those weights by your sides and by the hips. And lying down flat on the back, the shoulders rolled underneath, palms facing up towards the ceiling. and the chest is open. There's a nice space between the bottom and the heels, and your legs are parallel to one another. And let's just take a couple of breaths there. On the exhale, really think about that active rest position. So you're thinking about that length through the spine. Imagine there's spaces between each vertebrae. And as you exhale, they're getting even bigger. So you're stretching through the top of the head towards that wall above your head. Keep those shoulders completely relaxed. Don't allow them to tense up. Remember this lovely elongation, space between the chin and the chest. Okay, lovely stuff. So we're going to set our neutral position. So we're just going to imprint by inhaling, engaging the gap, the pelvic floor, and closing the gap between the lower back and the mat. So really pulling in that belly button to the floor. And on the exhale, let's release it by tilting that pelvis forwards and allowing that space to open up between the lower back and the mat. Inhale, engage again. So remember, those pelvic floor muscles are the ones that saddle the bladder and the bowel. So we're really talking internal abdominal muscles. Exhale to release. Make sure those shoulders are staying completely relaxed the whole time. Inhale and engage. And exhale to release. And inhale to engage. Exhale to release. Keeping those shoulders relaxed. Make this movement even more pronounced. So inhale, engage as strongly as you can. Exhale to release. Nice big gap between the lower back and the mat. Inhale, engaging. And exhale, release. Wonderful stuff. Okay, let's just minimize that movement. So now we're kind of in touch with those pelvic floor muscles. Let's just make that movement smaller and smaller, rocking back and forth until you have found your lovely neutral position. So tiny gap between the lower back and the mat. And you're engaged at least 30% of the time. 30, no, that's not right. You're engaged at least 30% of the way the whole time. Sorry about that. So making sure those shoulders are relaxed underneath you. You're taking both of those weights in your hands. You're going to take a lovely deep breath in. Engage through that core again. And on the exhale, float those arms up towards the ceiling, keeping them parallel to one another. Inhale and just release those shoulders. So keeping those arms straight, relaxing those shoulders. And on the exhale, we're just going to point up towards the ceiling. Remember, in that space between the arms is staying the same size, so they're staying parallel to one another. Inhale, release shoulders. So just focusing on the shoulders at the moment. Exhale, pointing up towards the ceiling, keeping that core engaged. Inhale, release shoulders. So remember, you want to be controlling this movement, not just from your shoulders, but from the core as well, which is the same with every exercise we do during our Pilates class, which is why we're staying engaged through that core. We want to make sure none of the rest of the body is moving or tense at all. That would only be the core and the parts that we're working with. Inhale to relax. Let's do 3 more of these. Remember, with these exercises, to make it a bit more challenging, you can come up into tabletop. That's always an option. But likewise, you need to make sure you're keeping that core engaged and you're staying in that neutral position. So we've got 1 more of these shoulder shrugs. Inhale, wonderful, back to center. So let's go into the seesaw arms. On the exhale, we're going to float that right arm towards the wall above the head with the left arm going down towards where the hips are. Make sure you don't relax them completely on the floor, just keep them hovering the whole time. Take a lovely deep breath in and stretch through those arms. And on the exhale, swapping those arms. Inhale and stretch, keeping that core engaged, tiny waist. Exhale to swap. And inhale to stretch. Remember, you don't want to be wobbling the hips at all. Everything's staying really still. It's the same with the shoulders. You don't want to be kind of tilting them up and down. You want to try and keep them level with one another. Remember, really visualize using your core to do the exercise. Inhale to stretch. Exhale to swap. Inhale to stretch. Lovely stuff. Thinking about that length through your arms, making them even longer as you stretch. Let's just finish off this repetition and come back to center. Wonderful. Taking a deep breath in. On the exhale, we're going to release both arms above the head, making sure you don't compromise your neutral position in that core. Take a lovely deep breath in, and we're going to go into some gentle crunches. On the exhale, lifting the arms, head, neck and upper back, and reaching towards that wall beneath where the bottom is. Take a breath in there. And exhale, let's come back. So if you're not comfortable lifting the head, neck and upper back off the mat, you're more than welcome to keep those down and just focus on the arms. Remember, you've got options with the legs. You can have them down like this. Remember that space between the chin and the chest. Don't squish that chin into the chest. Or you can have the legs up in tabletop. Remember, you're always exhaling on the move, inhaling on the stretch, unless I say otherwise. Keeping that core engaged. Trying to think about that waist as being as flat as possible. Don't let those abdominal muscles flare out. That way you know you're targeting the right muscles. Tiny waist as much as you can. Okay, let's do a couple more repetitions there. And come into your final repetition. Wonderful. Okay, place those legs back on the mat one at a time if you haven't already. And we're just going to release those weights gently and with control. You can place them aside if you want. And let's go into our shoulder bridges. So this time with arms facing downwards, palms facing downwards, we're going to take a deep breath in, close that gap between the lower back and the mat, and on the exhale, coming up into the shoulder bridge, engage those glutes at the top, and remember that space between the chin and the chest. And on the next exhale, coming back down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Make sure those shoulders are staying relaxed completely. And remember to breathe the whole time, making sure you're coming up as strongly into that shoulder bridge each repetition. Wonderful stuff. So we'll do a couple more before adding our progression. And today our progression is going to be those pulses. So remember when we were in class, for those of you who were all that time ago, it must nearly be coming on to a year now. We used to have those little squidgy balls and we'd just squeeze them between the knees. So that's what we're doing, but we don't sadly have squishy green balls unless you do, and you're welcome to use them. So holding that shoulder bridge up here, making sure those shoulders are relaxed, glutes are engaged. We're just going to pulse those knees. So just squishing them together slightly, but not touching completely. So we're going to go down from 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely deep inhale. And on the exhale, let's articulate that spine as we come back down. Relax those glutes for a second as you take a breath in. And we're going to go back up into it. So another 20, making sure you're looking straight up above you. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and your last one. Deep inhale and lowering down gently and with control. Hug those knees into the chest. And let's go with some clockwise circles there. And anti-clockwise. And then just pulling those knees in as you come into the ankles. So just rotating those ankles clockwise, anti-clockwise as you feel. Whatever works for you. Wonderful stuff. Great, okay. So let's go into our oblique 100. So remember that's kind of the version of the 100 where we do it on either side and where I always get the description wrong. So reining gear, we want to have the left leg bent, the right leg's going to be straight, and we're going to straighten the left arm down the side of where the left hip is, and then just place that bent elbow, that bent arm behind the head here. So when we come up, we want to aim that shoulder towards the hip of that bent leg, okay? So we're going to take a lovely deep breath in, and we'll just start with the prep. So on the exhale, let's just reach through those fingertips, reaching from that shoulder to that hip there. Inhale, coming back to the mat. And on the exhale, coming back up. Inhale, coming back to the mat. And exhale, thinking about that shoulder, targeting down towards that hip. Remember that space between the chin and the chest though, don't squish that in. Inhale back down, let's do a couple more. And your last one. Okay, so after this, we're going to go into 100. So usually we do 50 on each side. Today I'm going to suggest we do the 100 on each side, but just remember to pace yourself. If you are feeling uncomfortable at any point, just go into a full body stretch, whatever works for you. Okay, we're going to take a lovely deep breath in. Exhale, coming up, and we're going to start pulsing. So we're going to inhale for 5 and out. So that's 10. And out. That's 20. In and out. That's 30. Really make sure you're reaching towards that hip with that shoulder. 40 in. So across the body, out. 50 in and out. 60 in and out. 70 in and out. That's 80 in and out. 90 in And out, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's your 100. Let's just go into a gentle full body stretch before going on to the other side. I remember going to a Pilates class once when they made us do, you know, like the full kind of 100. I've forgotten how it goes, the full 100, 3 times in a row. So that was a little bit brutal. I'll never do that to you guys, not that me. Okay, so we're going to swap the sides now. So we've got right leg is bent, left arm is bent behind the head. Right arm is straight next to the hip. We'll just start with the prep again. Exhale, stretch through those fingertips, shoulder to hip. Inhale. Exhale again, reaching up. Inhale, coming back. Exhale, reaching up, shoulder, just stretching towards that hip as much as you can. It's almost like a visualization again there. I'd be very impressed if any of us can get our shoulder down to our hip from this position. Okay, a couple more of those preps. Remember that space between the chin and the chest. None of that tensing or clenching the jaw. Nice elongation the whole time. Wonderful. Coming back to the mat, we're going to go back into that 100. So we're going to repeat on this side. So inhale, and up. That's 10. And out. 20 in. And out. 30 in. And out. 40 in. And out. 50 in. And out. 60 in. And out. Make sure you're not putting on that head. And out. That's 80 in. And out. 90 in. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful stuff. Lower down gently and with control. Coming back into that full body stretch. We'll start with flexed feet and stretch through the heels. Allow that back to curve a little bit to lengthen through those abs. And take a few deep breaths there. I think with that one, it's justified to do it twice just because, pointing those toes, just because we're not lifting the legs at all, so it is a little bit easier. But maybe you disagree with me. Okay, great stuff. All right, let's roll over onto our sides then, and we'll do some of the side leg series. Again, I'm just going to take a little bit of a drink. So we want to line ourselves up against the back of the mat. Remember that's your bottom, shoulder and elbow lined up against the back of the mat. Head is propped on mat hand, and the legs are about a 45-degree angle in front. Top hand is in front of where that core is, reminding you to engage those pelvic floor muscles, but not putting any pressure on that hand. We don't want to do that as much as we can help it. If you are uncomfortable propping your head up on the hands, you can take a cushion between the ear and the arm. And that might be more comfortable for you, whichever you prefer. Okay, so let's start just with some gentle lifts of the top leg. On the exhale, just lift that up to about hip height. Inhale to close. So make sure you're using that core. It's a very easy move, very gentle move, but again, you need to make sure you're engaging the right muscles. That'll make it just that little bit more challenging. Inhale gently and with control. Exhale, lift. Inhale, oh, wonderful. So your next progression here is to lift that bottom leg as well. You might need to adjust a little bit for balance purposes. Remember, you don't want to be putting pressure on that hand. And we're going to lower and lift that bottom leg. Now don't rest it completely on the mat. You want to be holding the weight of the leg the whole time. Okay, so you can inhale on the lower, exhale as you lift. Keep that top shoulder relaxed. Make sure you're not putting too much pressure on that hand. You shouldn't be putting any pressure on that front hand as much as you can help it. So we're kind of exercising the adductors here. So squeezing those thighs together. Remember your elongation between the chin and the chest. Nice, long spine. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. And your last one. Wonderful. Release both those legs. And we're going to go into some higher lifts with that top leg. Inhaling as you point and float that leg up. Exhale, flex and engage as you close those legs. So really imagine you're closing a rusty spring between those thighs. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, push down, really push. Visualize there's a weight underneath those heels. You're pushing it down. Inhale, float up. Keep that top shoulder relaxed. Exhale, engage and push. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, making sure you're engaged as you push back down. So with this one, you can float up as far as you can. You can think of that range of movement if you'd like. So it gets you a stretch on the opposite adductor as well. Let's do a couple more of those. And your last repetition. Wonderful stuff. Going straight into little circles. Tap those heels. We'll circle 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. Keep that core engaged. 11. Let's swap direction. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wonderful. Okay, we're just going to come to the middle. Let's do the saw. So just have a little shake of those legs out. And then take them to about mat width apart. Lovely deep breath in. Make sure there's plenty of space in front and behind you. On the exhale, stretching down towards that calf or that foot with the opposite arm. Inhaling, stretching. Exhale, repeat on the other side. Now make sure the bottom is glued to the mat the whole time. You're not lifting either of the hips off the mat. And we're pulsing for 2 as we come down. Inhaling at the top. Inhale. Pulse, pulse. Inhale. Keep those feet flexed. Pulse, pulse. Inhale. Pulse, pulse. Inhale. Stretching those arms far apart. When you come down into the stretch, pulse, pulse. Inhale, 2 more on each side. Inhale, pulse, pulse. We got 1 more on each side. Wonderful. Gently coming out of that, we're going to go onto the other side with that side leg series. Again, making sure that the bottom shoulder and elbow are lined up against the back of the mat with the hand in front of where the core is. And those legs at about 45-degree angle forwards. So it's so easy to kind of get in the wrong position for this exercise. So it is really worth checking yourself against the back of the mat, making sure you're in the right position. Remember, you've always got the option to line that arm with a cushion. Okay, let's just start with floating that top leg up on the exhale. Inhale, release. So just going up to hip width. Inhale, release. Exhale, floating up. Inhale, release. Keep that core engaged. Okay, adding that progression if we're happy to. Floating the opposite leg up 2. And we inhale as we lower, exhale as we lift, making sure we're not relaxing that leg on the mat at any point, but making sure we're not putting any pressure on that hand in front. Keeping that waist as tiny as possible the whole time. We're using those pelvic floor muscles throughout the exercises. Keep those shoulders relaxed as well. I feel like I'm nagging you sometimes. I'm sure you're all doing it perfectly. I just can't see, so I have to say these things. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower, tiny waist. Inhale to lift. Let's do 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. And your last one. Wonderful. Lower both those legs down and release on the mat. Inhale as you point and lift that top leg. Exhale, flex. Resist. Imagine there's a rusty spring between those thighs. Inhale, point and lift. Exhale, flex and resist. Inhale, keep that top shoulder relaxed completely. Exhale, flex. Lower that leg. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, engaging, closing. We'll do 3 more of these. Coming to 2 more. And your last repetition. Straight into your circles, circle forwards. Clip those heels. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Don't lean on that hand. 13, 12, 11, 10. Change direction. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wonderful stuff. Okay, let's come up to the center. Give those legs a little bit of a shake out and release. Okay, so let's do a little bit of rolling before we come into the cool down. Everyone loves rolling, that's fun. Okay, so just starting by coming up onto that tailbone. So just balancing here, arms straight out in front of you. Legs are a few inches off the ground and you've still got that lovely space between the chin and the chest. Making sure there's a space between the shoulders and the ears as well. And we're just going to tap the floor with those toes. Now this is your very first progression. If you don't want to go into rolling, you can hold this. Just testing that balance there. So just starting with our rolling like a ball, you can take those legs either on top of the shins or underneath the shins, whatever works for you. Make sure your lovely C curve there, so scooped out like someone's got an ice cream scoop to you. Inhale, and on the exhale, rolling back onto the shoulders, and then coming back to center, balancing on that tailbone. Inhale on your center. Exhale as you roll. Inhale as you come back to center. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Adding progressions. Remember, always optional. We can go into the skills. So feet are together, palms of feet are together. Hands are on the outsides of the ankles on each side. Tap, tap, tap. Exhale, tap, tap, tap. Coming back to center, breathing in. Tap, tap. Wonderful stuff. Tap, tap. Okay, let's do 3 more repetitions with whichever one we're doing. So I've lost count, so I'm not sure that was your last one. Feel free to do another one if you want to. And we're going to lower ourselves when we're ready back onto the mat, just to come into our cool down. So let's go into a full body stretch first. Lengthening through the insides of the arms, all the way to the toes. And then flexing, stretching through the backs of the legs again. Great stuff. Okay, so let's bend those knees with the soles of the feet flat on the mat. We're going to drop both knees down to one side, stacked one on top of the other, so you can allow that lower spine to rotate, so lift the bottom of the mat. And then just stretch those arms in the opposite direction. So making sure your arms are on the opposite side of where the knees are. And take a few breaths into that stretch. Stuff. Okay, so let's swap over to the other side. And you can always readjust to make sure you're kind of getting the maximum out of that stretch. So let's come back to centre. We're going to go into the figure four stretch. So folding that left ankle over the right knee. That might be enough of a stretch for you. If you'd like, you can thread your arm through those legs and the opposite arm's going around the outside of the legs and just gently allow that leg to rotate. So clockwise first. And then anti-clockwise. And then let's just get into a position where you're feeling that stretch. So pull that leg in and really feel that stretch on the glutes and piriformis, also into the hamstring. And just take a few breaths there. And you can rotate those ankles as well. I miss hearing when we're in class, when you do this, everyone's ankles click. In a weird way, I kind of miss that. And swapping those legs over. So let's go into clockwise circles first. And then anti-clockwise circles. And then again, just pulling in and rotating those ankles. Keeping the shoulders relaxed up and make sure you're not really clenching and pulling. Those arms are acting more as an elastic band, so just supporting the leg. Great stuff, wonderful stuff. Okay, releasing those legs completely. We're just gently going to allow ourselves to come up to a seated position in whichever way works. Keep those feet flexed and we'll go into that spine stretch forward. Making sure those feet flexed. And just allow yourself to try and stretch further on the exhale. Just release that head completely. Keep on breathing. Remember, on your exhale, you can try and push further into it. So let's all exhale and push as far as we can into that stretch. I'm going to count down from 20, 19, just hold it there, 18, 17. Keep breathing, don't hold the breath. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come into an inhale when you're ready. And on the exhale, push even further. We're going to count down again. 20, 19. Keep those feet flexed. 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come into the inhale when you're ready. And on the exhale, as far as you possibly can. Even those feet flexed the whole time. Just hold that there for a few breaths as well. Wonderful stuff. Okay, gently and with control, we're going to come out of that. And we're going to lift ourselves back to a standing position. As elegantly as we can. I don't think that was very elegant. Right. Let's go into some arm circles. So inhaling as we roll back. Exhaling, roll forwards. Inhale as you roll back. Exhale, roll forwards. Let's come into our final roll down. Articulating as we come down, vertebrae by vertebrae. And hopefully you feel like you can come down a little further than you could at the beginning of class. Take a few breaths there. Okay, coming back up. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more. Rolling shoulders back, keeping it all very nice and loose. Let's have a shake out. And we are all done for today. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. I'm sorry it was quite a simple class. Sometimes we need.
That was good. It's quite challenging.
Oh, sorry. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next week.
Hope you feel better.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.